All right, welcome everybody for podcast 11. Today we've got Jimmie Jackson with Equiplinc Auction Group. We've got Mike Gardecki with TransWest, Steve Bootsma with Vander, and again myself, Scott Wynn, with American Equipment Sales and Leasing. So hey, welcome Jimmie. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks Scott. Thanks Steve. Thanks Mike. Glad to be here.
Let's roll right into it. So real quick, Jimmie, just tell us about yourself. Tell us about Equiplinc.
All right. Name's Jimmie Jackson. I'm with Equiplinc Auction Group. We've been in business for going on 7 years now, 7 or 8 years now. Started, right before COVID, with doing just 100% online auctions. I've been in the business my entire life. Had an auctioneer's license for 30 years now. So can't believe it's been that long, to be honest with you, but it has been. Grew up in a truck background. My dad was a dealer in Kentucky, so I've traveled the world, selling trucks, cars, pretty much anything you could think of. And anyway, that's a little bit of background there.
And you got a partner in this, Jimmie?
Yes, I've got two partners in Equiplinc. Jason Brinkley, he's kind of the brains behind everything, the bean counter and that sort of stuff. He deals with most of the banks and stuff that we sell the assets for. And then the third partner is Jim Manka, and he runs we've got a retail dealership in Savannah, Georgia. So, and Jim runs that for us.
I was going to ask how you got into it, but man, seems like you've always been associated with it in some way. Have you always sold vehicles?
Yeah, I'm 48 now, getting ready to be 49. And whenever I was 19 or 20, I actually went to work for Taylor & Martin. So, worked with them for, 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. And, was turning wrenches on trucks before then, right out of high school. And, then I got into the auction side. My dad was like I said, he was a truck dealer. And, they also owned a car auction. So, got into the car side and, then I worked with, Odessa Auctions, and that's where Jason and I met. And then I was a heavy truck and equipment manager there at Odessa, Atlanta, and, did that for almost 10 years. And then I went back to just auctioneering. Got out of the corporate side. And then we had this opportunity come up, several years ago, and, we put it all together, and, now we sell almost 300 trucks a month, trucks, trailers, yellow iron. I have 2 auctions bi-weekly, I guess you'd say, the first and third Tuesday of every month, and then usually the first Monday of every month we have a mechanically challenged auction. So that's trucks that are wrecked or, have engine issues, transmission issues, just have some type of issue.
So the two types of auctions, now you guys do online in addition to a physical lot. Kind of elaborate on that.
We mainly do just online. We'd have some live auctions here and there. Like this past weekend, we sold out all the surplus equipment for DeKalb County, Georgia, which is south side of Atlanta. That was a nice sale. It was live. We had everything there, and people came, and it was your old school auction day. But the truck sales that we do are they're all online. The assets are located all across the United States, from Washington to Miami and San Diego to Maine. So in everywhere in between. And we run about anywhere from 120 to 160, 70 per auction, it seems like.
What's something that you think people misunderstand on how auctions actually work?
We do things a little bit different because, we allow a reserve price. So, if the asset, if it doesn't hit, what you want for it, you don't have to sell it. Where some of our competitors, you throw it in there and pray for the best. And hey, there's good days and there's bad days in the auction business, just like anything else, and it's, you never know which you're going to get that day. It could be a great day. Everything's selling for big money. And then some days you're just like, man, where's everybody at? What's going on here? Why isn't this bringing this? And, you have a little bit of protection that way.
Would you say you guys are known for a certain type of inventory, or is it kind of a shotgun, whatever comes to the table in that week?
Our main forte is, over the road transportation equipment. That's 85% of our inventory is, Class 8 trucks and trailers. We do a lot of medium duty stuff as well, box trucks, and some vocational stuff, service bodies. And then, probably 10% of our business is construction, yellow iron.
Okay. That's good to know.
Most of it is, is all bank repos. That's our main business, is selling, repossessed assets.
Is there anything that's surprisingly strong right now, or things you guys just didn't think would be hot, but they are?
No, miles are selling everything. I mean, that's, the lower the mileage, the better it's going to do. And, that extreme low miles, that Class 8 truck under 200,000 miles, I mean, just brings blood money right now. And I'm sure you all are probably seeing that in your business as well.
Oh, yeah. Do you guys purchase for the inventory, or for inventory? Is it strictly just listing with reserve, or how does that work if we have something we want to sell?
We'll guarantee packages. If you've got a large group or whatever, we can give you a guarantee on it, or we'll purchase the group outright.
So if somebody wanted some pricing, they'd send the unit to you and you could give them kind of a rough value of what you think it's going to sell for?
Yeah, and we try to do that with all of our customers, whether it be the banks or consignments from a dealer or whatever. We try to evaluate each piece and say, hey, it's a $40,000 truck, and if you're wanting 60 for it, probably not, it's not going to do it. So there's no need of I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste my buyer's time either, of running stuff that we don't think that has the opportunity to sell.
So you basically just base that off of recent auction activity and what you guys can just kind of point to, or how do you present that to a guy?
Yeah, we look at other, competitor market reports. We use the VIP there on truck paper and, a lot of those. And, we look at the Ritchie Brothers, the Taylor Martins, the Jeff Martins, we look at their auction results. And then, we've got a good database of results ourselves, from past auctions. And, we just kind of do an overview and see what the market has been bearing. And then we'll also look at, at some of the retail posting as well.
Do you post your results after auction?
We don't. We're working on that, Mike. We built our own system. It's another thing in our auctions. We use 3 bidding platforms. We use Equiplinc, which is owned by Sandhills, and then Proxy Bid, and then we have our own, EquiplinCauctions.com. And all 3 bid simultaneously against one another. There's guys that only buy through Equiplinc, and there's guys that only buy through Proxy Bid, but on those 2 platforms, it's 12% buyer's premium, and then on ours, it's just 10% if you buy direct through us.
So just curious, what's the biggest mistake you think sellers make when they bring something to the table?
The biggest thing that we see is not representing the asset correctly. And that's why we try to do a third-party inspection, whether it's, NIS or someone that we trust to do the inspection on it. And, that's the biggest thing, because we've had issues when we've allowed the customer to do the description themselves, and then it's not anything like that whenever the buyer gets there to pick it up.
Are we talking issues with listing the wrong specs, engine, transmission, stuff like that, or are we saying not disclosing maybe something that could be mechanically wrong with it? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
How do you handle deleted trucks? Are you willing to sell those?
Yes, we do sell those, but we disclose it. And during the bidding process, when we have a truck that has been deleted, our clerks, they type in the notes section that truck has been deleted, and you have to actually acknowledge that, with the click of your mouse before you can bid again. That way it saves us, hey, you knew you were buying a deleted truck.
What can a seller do to maximize their value back? I mean, just providing maintenance documents or detailing it before, obviously you're photoing it up, or is it timing?
Obviously, shiny sells. Always has, if it looks good, it's gonna do a little bit better. So that's the biggest thing is just, in maintenance records help a lot. You got maintenance records, got the asset clean, looking nice, standing tall, then, it's going to do better than, one covered in mud or covered in snow or whatever.
When a seller calls you, what are 3 things that you you try to advise them on?
The market and real expectations. You know, that's one thing that I feel like we put a lot of effort into. I'm not going to put your truck in my auction if you think that it's worth a whole big bunch of money and it's really not. You know, just the transparency of, you know, actual value of what the asset's worth.
So you guys do inspect the trucks, like you were saying, and that's something you provide. So when it's on the chopping block, that's something you can thumb through, or is that pre-auction research that's available to somebody on the site, or how does that go?
You know, we've got a sale coming up next week, next Monday, Tuesday, and you can go on our website right now and see the inspection. You know, there'll be anywhere from 20 to 50 pictures of each truck. You know, there'll be a diag report. You know, we diag every truck with ECMs and, you know, and they'll show you the codes and all that. So we try to be as transparent as possible.
So, I mean, it's hard for me. I'm a very see, touch, feel person when it comes to inspecting equipment and getting a warm and fuzzy. I mean, what are 5 top inspection items that you say everybody should absolutely look at?
You know, mileage verification is probably number one. You know, the ECM matches the odometer. We like to put a video of the truck running so that way you know that the truck does start up and run. You know, tires are huge because just the sheer cost of what a tire is now, you know, I mean, what, $300 or $400 just for, you know, a recap anymore, you know, so tires are a big deal. Trying to think, you know, just overall appearance of the truck, you know, body damage, you know, is a big indicator of value just because it costs so much to repair anything anymore.
And everything's sold, I'm sure, as is, you see it, and per the notes, this, that, and the other. It's not like there's any guarantees on what you're getting.
Yeah, no, we sell everything 100% as is where it is, and, you know, we do encourage, you know, we'll tell you where the truck's at if you want to go look at it first. You know, it's hard because they're all scattered across the United States, but, you know, if there's one in St. Louis that you're looking at, you know, you can call me up and say, hey, can I go check this truck out, you know, Friday before the auction on Tuesday or Monday or whatever. You're always welcome to do that.
When we're talking about listing, I mean, how does that look? What are the main fees or buyer's premiums, seller fees, title fees? How does it look to list something?
So what we do is we charge anywhere from a $200 to $300 inspection fee for the asset. That's negotiable on the amount of, you know, if you've got 10 trucks, you know, I can work with you. Now, if I have to send NIS or a third party out there, that's just a pass-through cost of, you know, that someone's got to pay. We charge 6% to sell the asset, and then there's a 10% buyer's premium, and then it's 12% if you buy a proxy bid or equipment fax, because they have to get their money too.
Sure.
And then other than that, there's no other fees. You know, we don't have a title fee. We don't have a no-sell fee or a listing fee or anything. It's just the inspection and, you know, just flat 6%.
And you work with guys for a reserve, is that right?
Yes.
So if reserve not met, then no sale, and you can try again next auction.
What we do a lot with owner confirmation, like if we're close, you know, just the high bid is, you know, 25 grand and, you know, you wanted 30 grand for it. You know, I'll call you up and say, you know, hey, Mike, I know you wanted 30, but I've got you 25. What do you want to do? And you're like, well, you know, it was the last one out of a package. Go ahead and pull the trigger on it. Or, you know, no, I've got to get closer to 30. And then I'll call the buyer back and say, hey, you know, he wanted 30. You're at 25. Can you help us out any at all? You know, yeah, hit him at 28. You know, I'll call you back. Mike got 28 for it. All right, go ahead and sell it now. So, you know, whenever the sale's over, if we still keep working.
So I'm real curious about just trends. I know we talked on late model, low mile. I think we're all seeing that. But in the last 12, 18 months, I mean, what have you seen kind of really shift in your seat?
The medium duty stuff seems to be struggling the most is what I'm seeing. You know, box trucks have cheapened up. You know, service body type trucks have gotten a lot cheaper. I think it's just because, you know, they can get new ones now, whereas for so long, the supply chain was really short on that. So the vocational medium duty type stuff seems to be a little bit softer. Over the road trucks, even with the fuel at where it's at right now, I mean, we've seen a bit of an increase on those.
Is there any category that you'd say might be considered a little risky?
I would say trailers are probably the biggest risk right now. I mean, just because there's so many of them on the market, and, I don't know that you can buy trailers cheap enough right now.
Well, it just seems like the need is 21 and newer, and the supply is just not there. I mean, seems like a sea of 10 to 19s out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can find 100 of 2013, 14, 15 model trailers all day long, every day, and we get them priced from $2,000 to, $15,000, and the $15,000 ones are never going to sell.
Yeah. Are you seeing a shift in geography? I mean, is there one part of the country that's a little hotter than the other? Canada, imports, exports,
I don't
stuff like
know if it's, if maybe we're doing something different, but it seems that the Western market is picked up. We're starting to sell more trucks, California, Nevada, Arizona, that type, in that area.
I was having a conversation with a guy yesterday about that, and it's like, we were wondering, is it fuel? Just because that market is such a beast as far as consuming trucks, the cost of getting them out there is definitely factored into what works, and there's just not as much equipment historically just sitting in California right now.
Right. And that could be it. I mean, we're definitely seeing more and more buyers from the California area, And then, everything in Texas always sells good. Northeast trucks are always a lot softer. I would say you could probably about put a 10% deduction in value if it's sitting, Ohio and northeast of there.
Do you think that's fear of rust, or do you think that's just geographically?
A lot of rust. I think that's a lot of it. And then, it's just, you get around the New York, New Jersey area, it just costs so much to go up in there between tolls and fuel and everything.
Do you guys offer transportation quotes, finance options at all? Is that part of your platform?
We do. Yeah, I mean, we help you from cradle to grave. We can get the truck picked up, we can get it sold for you, do the inspection. We offer financing to some buyers. We work with floor plan companies, so we make it as easy as possible.
If you could change one thing industry-wide about auctions to improve outcomes, what would it be?
I guess that would just have to be the expectations.
Yeah. $1 million question there.
Yep. The expectation, and, that's why, we focus mainly on the banking industry, or, the repos and stuff, because, those guys gotta sell that equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for sale. They're not in the truck industry or trucking business. They're in the financing, and it's gotta go. And what I see from the dealer standpoint a lot of times is they've made a mistake, and they want me to be the miracle maker and get them out of the trap.
Help me, Jimmy.
Yep.
Are you seeing an uptick in repos here in the last little while, or is it slowed up?
It's slowed up a little bit.
Now, I know you said you just had a good municipality deal, but, I mean, are you seeing the most trucks coming out of fleets, owner ops, dealers, banks? Where are a lot of the trucks being listed from right now?
Actually, I'm starting to see more packages come directly from the trucking companies. We're seeing more and more of that. I don't know if they're getting new equipment or downsizing, and we're seeing a lot of companies just shut down. Yeah, and I think the fuel price has to do with a lot of that right now, and driver shortages.
Backing up real quick from where we were a few minutes ago, as far as pricing and results, I know that end of March, beginning of April, the market seemed to tick up from the auction results I've been seeing. Have you seen that continue all the way through April, or did you see anything soften over the last few weeks?
No, I've seen it. It's gradually continued in a upward movement.
Okay.
The Freightliner Cascadia is probably still the number one selling truck that we see. We have the most calls for that. Obviously, the long and talls, your 389s and your W9s and stuff, they still do good. But all in all, we have more calls, people wanting the Cascadia.
I would have expected the hoods to start dropping off with the price of fuel, but maybe not.
I think those are just, there's so many just one-off guys that still will just pay big money for the hoods. You know?
Gotcha.
Yeah, Mike, I'm with you. It just seemed like there was a bit of an accordion going on there at the end of March into April where it was, go find it. We need it. And then April was kind of like, nah, I'm good. The price is retracted just a little bit, at least from what we do.
That's what I was getting at, like on the wholesale side. As you're still seeing them uptick, we're seeing the wholesale side. I don't want to say volumes are dropping tremendously, but they're down a little from where they were a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. And I'm talking fractionally, but that's why I'd asked that question about what you guys are seeing on the auction side over the last few weeks.
What advice would you give to anybody who's on the fence, whether to go with Auctioneer or not?
With the auction, I'm a firm believer in the auction method. You can get the upside of it. It can be a win-win because, you get two guys wanting the same asset, sky's the limit. And, on the retail side or, the wholesale side, whatever, you price your asset. That's all you're going to get for it. I don't think anyone on this call has ever, priced a truck for 10 grand and the guy said, oh, it's worth more than that. I'll give you 12 for it. But, you might want 10 grand for it and put it in the auction and it brings 12, or put it in the auction, you might want 20 for it and it brings 25. Whereas, you're not going to get that opportunity, at the retail store or on the wholesale, Your number's your number.
All right, get your crystal ball out. What would you say buyers and sellers should pay attention to for the next 90 days?
That's a good question.
It's the $1 million question.
It's the $1 million question. I think we're going to continue to see, over the road sleeper trucks, the lower mileage, they're going to continue to increase in value. There's just getting to be harder and harder to find, nice late model, low mileage trucks. We're seeing that across the board. The biggest $1 million question is what's the value of the 300,000, the gap, the 300,000 to 500,000 mile truck? That's the unknown territory, I guess you would say. Where do you draw the line at of, is the 300,000 mile truck, is it worth 20 grand more than the 400,000 mile truck, or is it worth 30 grand more? Cause like right now we're starting to see 2020 models again with 300,000 miles on them that people are asking 60, 65, 70 grand for. And that same truck with 500,000 miles on it's a $30,000 truck. So, where do you draw the line?
Sure, and it's been such a moving target for at least us, seemingly, in the last 30 days. And it is the old adage, it's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay. But my small prediction is, man, I feel like it's going to get a little tight here into June, July, with all this talk of people holding back trades until Q3. But I think we're in a good spot where I think the rest of the year, we've got some good potential.
Absolutely. Back to the trailer deal, those trailers are just so daggone cheap right now that, I would stay away from anything, 2010 and older is just scrap price,
Mm-hmm.
is what we're seeing. If it's older than the 2010, $2,000 and down is the number on it.
Is that vans as well as platform trailers?
Flats are still pretty valuable. I'm more referring to the vans and reefers.
Right.
A reefer's really no different than a van right now as far as value goes from what we're seeing.
Especially at that age, yeah.
Yeah.
You say that's through all my questions here. Jimmie, is there anything else you want to hit on?
Yeah, is there anything else we missed, Jimmie, that you'd like to bring out on?
No, if there's anybody, in the UTA that wants to give us a shot, I'll cut you all a deal, give you a UTA discount on a sale fee or whatever. So, you can reach me at 770-280-7632 or, my email is jjackson at equiplinc.auctions.com. I'm here to help. If anybody has any questions, want to call or, I can, do all I can for whatever y'all need.
So there's some good information for all the podcast listeners. Don't tell anybody else, but you can get a discount here listen to the podcast. I'm only kidding. He's offering that to everybody, but pass that around to everybody.
You'll just be the first to know when you hear it on the podcast.
That's right.
Well, we sure appreciate your time and your commitment and to the UTA as well. I know you've been a member for quite a while and you're very visible at the events, so thank you for that as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Well, thanks for coming on, Jimmy. Mike, if you want to wrap us up.
Just want to get this out to everybody that the annual Kansas City Golf Scramble is coming up. It's 2 weeks earlier this year, folks. June 3rd and 4th. It's 2 weeks earlier because the FIFA World Cup is going to be in Kansas City at our regular dates and times. So we had to move this up a few weeks. Registration is open on UTA.org. Sponsorships are also open at UTA.org. So get online, get registered, and let's see what we can turn out this year and have a great time. Same place as last year, the Argosy Casino and Hotel in Kansas City. I believe last year was our first year there, and the response and reception we got from that was outstanding. So looking forward to seeing everybody out there in June.
All right. Again, well, thanks everybody for listening. This concludes podcast 11. We'll see you on our next episode.
See you, everybody.